Hi, I'm Leslie Coplin, social worker and prevention and outreach coordinator at YWCA Greenwich. I'm here with Robin Linder, licensed clinical social worker, to talk about practical parenting.
Hi.
So, Robin, it feels like behavior problems are amplified right now, and we're with our children all day, every day, and issues that we tolerate in the past or even address with patience in the time span of, let's say, after school or weekend hours are now nonstop. And I feel like it takes a village of teachers and social workers and even peers to model pro social behaviors for our kids. And now it's just pretty much caregivers, dads, moms, 24/7. And sometimes it feels like all we can do is just throw our hands up and give in.
Yeah, I know. And there's a quote I actually really like that applies now, maybe more than ever. And it's parenting is yelling, you just had a snack over and over until you give in and throw them another snack.
It's so true. And I mean, it's important to be flexible right now, but then it's also hard to know which rules to enforce and which to just let go of. So let's take the classic example of you're on the phone, right? And suddenly your kids desperately need your undivided attention. And while that would have been annoying at any time in the past, now it's about our jobs, right? And plus, these magical parenting moments are playing out live for our colleagues on Zoom.
That's right. And the stakes do really feel higher right now, and our patience is probably a lot lower. I hate to say it though, it's important to remember these annoying behaviors, they're actually parent taught. When we give attention to the whining or the interruptions, we're really just teaching them how much whining or interrupting it takes to get our attention.
Ouch. So if we're actually teaching them to do the behaviors we don't want them to do, can't we help them to learn to do what we do want them to do?
Yes, we can. And there's a few techniques that can help. Now, behaviorists call the first one extinction, but it's just a fancy way of saying ignoring. And as long as our kids are safe, there's so much they do that we can just ignore. Stick with the example of them wanting attention, right? When you're on the phone. So you're on the call, and first maybe they call you by name and you signal you're on the phone, and then, right? Then maybe they pull on your sleeve and then they get in your face, right? What do you think? Then what happens?
Then I think I cover the phone and I yell at them, "Can't you see I'm on the phone right now?"
That's right. And you know what? Now they've got you right where they want you. They've got your undivided attention. So here's another way you could try it. What if you told them in advance you were going to be on the phone for the next 20 minutes and see what, if anything, they might need during that time? Set them up and then go get on your call. And do not let them interrupt you.
And that's the point, right? You really have to go through with it all the way so that they'll learn there's a new way of doing things and that interrupting will not get your attention.
Exactly. But you do have to be prepared for what we call the extinction burst. At first, they might up the ante, not really believing you're going to stick to it. And the behavior might get slightly worse before it gets better. But I promise you, in the long run, it will really pay off. They're going to learn that you mean what you say.
So then there are probably lots of behaviors we can just ignore as long as it's safe to do so and no one's getting hurt, of course. If we don't give it attention, it will just diminish on its own. But what about the really difficult behaviors? What about siblings arguing with each other?
Well, actually, sometimes a simple distraction will do the trick. Maybe put on silly music and just start dancing, or have them come take a look at something. Humor works great here too.
Oh, I love to do this with kids. I'll show them how silly they look with their arguing by mimicking them in a fancy accent. Please refrain from removing my pillow. Or I'll tell them that they can wrestle, but only if they do it in slow motion so no one gets hurt. Don't touch my pillow.
It's so great to be able to laugh with them instead of yell. I love that. One of my favorite techniques also is to offer replacement behavior. So instead of having to tell them what you don't want them to do, you get to tell them what you do want them to do.
Oh, that's great. So instead of saying stop running in the house, you're saying please walk slowly or don't poke your brother. Put your hands in your pockets, please. I always feel like lifeguards by the pool are constantly calling out, don't run. And all kids hear is Run.
Exactly. And when you give specific directions, it can make a really big difference. And then sometimes you can allow some of these behaviors with limits. Again, like you had said before, as long as it's safe to do so. If kids are arguing, you can just let them argue it out. We don't always have to jump in and referee over every little disagreement.
Oh, but that's so hard to do when you just want it to stop already.
That's true. And that's where setting limits helps everyone. So maybe try to validate first. Say something like, I know sometimes it's really hard to get along. Why don't you spend the next 10 minutes making your case and then it's time to move on? Then it's easier for you to tolerate because you know the end is in sight and your children get the chance to work on resolving the problem themselves.
Oh, and it's such an important relationship skill, right? To know that arguing is part of any relationship. It's how you learn how to handle it in a healthy way.
That's right. I'm thinking we've just really scratched the surface on behavior and we've looked at the challenging behaviors. So, next time, let's focus on how to increase more of the positive behaviors. I promise you there are some, even though these days they're harder to notice.
Sounds great, Robin. And wow, I just noticed that we've made it through this entire Zoom recording without either one of our families interrupting us. It's working already. So, Robin and I will be back again with another segment of Practical Parenting. Until then, you can always email us at community.ed@ywcagreenwich.org. Until then, be safe, stay well, and thanks for watching.